G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Aussie StarCraft, where we are bringing you some more action from the IEM World Championships that took place quite recently. Now we're narrowing things down. We are in the semi-finals and our players drawing closer and closer to that elusive $100,000 bounty. Now this is going to be a best of 5 series. In the bottom left hand corner of Yonsu as our red Zerg player, give it up for STLife. In the top right hand corner as a blue Terran player, it's going to be LiquidTaeja. So it is going to be a Zerg versus Terran, one of the most dynamic matchups and very enjoyable to watch. Something that we're actually a bit short of at IEM this year. We had a lot of Protoss versus Terran, but and a lot of PvP as well, but just not a lot of Zerg and Terran going toe to toe. So this was a great series. I thought I would bring it to you and hopefully spice up your weekend with a little bit of Zerg vs Terran action. So Taeja and Life, fantastic players. We've seen a lot of Taeja on the channel. Is one of my favourite Terran players to cast, right up there with Pult for enjoyment and just sheer multitasking goodness. Just some of those Terran players that you love to watch. Of course, there are plenty of others out there, but these two, some of my favourites, and I think well deserved. Taeja, it's his Terran versus anything is phenomenal. I think he's ranked 7th in the world, I think was the statistic that we heard rattled off recently in the WCS. 7th versus Terran, 7th versus Protoss, and 7th versus Zerg, making him just one of the greatest Terran players around at the moment. So all around good guy, and we'll see how he matches up against Life. Life's been showing us some great games here in this tournament. Going to be going spawning pool first, followed by a quick hatch down in his expansion. And fairly standard sort of opening. Yonsu is a nice tight map, so very short rush distances between players. Taeja's going to be throwing out a Reaper first. And that's a very standard play out of Terran nowadays. You tend to see the Reaper first. It does give you great scouting option, give you an opportunity to harass your opponent, force a few extra Zerglings early on. And Life actually going to be producing those Zerglings quite quickly. Probably going to use them to take a bit of map vision, ensure his opponent can't get too greedy, doesn't want to see an expansion thrown down on the low ground. Anything he can do to sort of stall that out with Taeja will certainly yield him a lot of benefits early on. We do have these first couple of Zerglings moving out now. First Reaper actually on its way, and we actually have a second Reaper falling out behind it, so it's not as common as the single Reaper opening. 2 Reapers does give Life, it does give Taeja, sorry, quite a lot of opportunities to harass. Can pluck away at these early Zerglings, can potentially get quite quick drone kills with 2 Reapers. A single Reaper taking 4 shots, 2 Reapers, obviously you do the maths, does only take 2 shots and does allow him to get quite quick pressure on. You can start to knock off those drones rather rapidly. Life going to be moving a queen down this expansion so he can start utilising this lava. Doesn't want to see those picked off by the Reapers. We actually have 2 now in production, a third one on the way, so it's quite rare, and it's certainly not something we see from all our Terran players as Taeja uses Reaper after Reaper to try and really pile on the pressure. It's going to force quite a heavy reaction from Life. I imagine we'll see a substantial amount of Zerglings produced to try and combat this, potentially another queen or 2 as well. And Life gonna try and force these Reapers back. Indeed, these 2 Zerglings managing to pick off that SCV is going to force Taeja to actually pull back these Reapers to try and deal with it. One Zergling actually making it into the main. This is quite rare and unheard of. That Zergling's going to see this 3rd command center, so quite a greedy opening from Taeja behind these early couple of Reapers. Taeja really going to need to put the pressure on Life here, as Life has seen that greedy 3cc opening. Most Zerg players respond by doing much as Life is now, dropping their gas and going for roaches. 3cc's makes it so difficult for a Terran player to hold. We are going to see a lot of Marines flood out here, but the question is, how does Taeja hold with 3cc's against some sort of quick early roach baneling bust, or even just a pure roach aggression out of Life is bound to do quite a lot of damages. There is no capacity for Marauder production here. We do have a tech lab on the factory here. The potential for a siege tank, more likely we'll see these swap out. Potential for a Banshee. Banshee's quite popular. Actually, Taeja going to put the barracks on the tech lab, and I love that choice out of Taeja. Is going to need the Marauders, is going to need his stim pack quite quickly here as the pressure is just going to come piling on. Potential for Taeja to go Widow Mines for defense or Hellions for offense. I think with the amount of Reapers that we have out on the field at the moment, 3 Reapers still in play, that we will see Taeja pile on some Hellions behind this and just really try to make life's life very difficult. Try to make the game quite difficult for life here. Life going to be working down these rocks, almost got those out, and the creep spread underway now with these excess queens. So life's basics well and truly under wraps here. Creep spreads flying, got great macro and saturation as main and natural expansions, and we see the first few roaches on the way. So the emphasis really is on Taeja. It looks like he's actually going to try and take this third base, which I think is incredibly bold. Obviously going to try and use the pressure that these Reapers have put on to try and move forward, but I just see the potential for life to just come barreling through the front door of Taeja. Taeja going to be building a new reactor, not actually going for the Hellions quite as quickly. Instead going to wall off his natural expansion, try and open up his third base quite quickly. So interesting choices for Taeja. Potential for life to really put some pressure on. I'm going to be scouting here. Can see that the third base will be taken at the other location. And life has to be feeling pretty confident here. Already going up to 6 gas. Has his +1/+1 on the way, as does Taeja. Stim pack almost completed now, as Taeja threw down those engineering bays just a minute ago. So Taeja going up to 5 barracks now, so production well and truly underway, and what looked like a potential for quite an aggressive opening here has turned into a fairly substantial macro game. We have a very clever move with the roaches here, going to come up behind the Reaper and take that one out, and with those Reapers going down, I think we'll see Taeja, instead of going for the potential Hellion harass, likely to go for some sort of bio play here. He's got production off 5 barracks. This is fairly standard sort of Taeja. Loves his Marine Marauder medevac combination. We have a bunker being established here, and Taeja going to be blocking off with a few supply depots, make that base just a little bit more defensible against things like a Zergling run by. Life has gone up to 3 bases now. He's got his gas well and truly mined at all of them. Spire actually being built behind the 3rd base. A bit of an interesting choice, easy to pick off there. Life already opening up his 4th base location, so not expanding towards Taeja. I like that choice out of Life. Taking this base against Terran like Taeja, very dangerous. Things like drops going to harass your lay siege tanks on the low ground, make life very difficult. Taeja here going to be cleaning up a few of these creep tuners. One very bold Marine trying to make his way forward. Unfortunately, Zergling's going to bounce all over him. It does go down. Baneling Nest has completed. Centrifugal Hook's on its way. We have a few roaches making their way into this 3rd base, and these roaches from Life are going to do a heck of a lot of damage in here. Going to snipe off 1 SCV, 2 SCVs. We see 9 have actually gone down here, so nice focus firing from Life, just continuing to pick away. Would love to grab a few of those mules, and the count does stop at 9, so Marines and Marauders able to clean up those roaches. But we've got lots of Zerglings in play. 9 Mutalisks are on the way, +2/+2 on the way for Life as well. And Taeja dropping his own at the same time, so neck and neck in this upgrade race. It looks like it is going to be Zergling, Baneling, Muta out of Life, which is quite consistently the mode chosen by Life to try and combat Terran. We have these Mutas making their way across the field, plenty of Banelings being morphed in. Taeja here trying to get aggressive, push back this creep spread. It is going to be spotted by Life, and Life could potentially encircle these, with Marines with 1/1 going to be sufficient to try and push this back. Marines, unfortunately, plenty of Zerglings here are going to be able to wrap around these Marines. Drop Marines trying to make a stand here, but got to be so careful. These Banelings are rolling in. Potential for big detonations here. Unfortunately, Taeja's split's just too good here. Mutalisks going to try and focus down the medevacs. Unfortunately, 2 medevacs, super low health, but Mutalisk count just not big enough yet. Taeja going to be dropping a Thor here to try and counter the Mutalisk. Thor's massive damage versus the cloud of Mutalisk. Life continuing to macro behind us. We have 24 Zerglings and a few Banelings in production at the moment. We have an infestation pick going down, so potential for Life to go up to Hive Tech momentarily, and he'll need those for the 3-3 upgrades. Taeja's own 2-2 almost completed. Now going to be grabbing the armored weapons level 1, or well, the vehicle and ship weapons level 1. That'll give the Thors a little bit more punch against those mules. Taeja's trying to move out and take the high ground. Life trying to contest it as best he can. We have a few banelings here. Love to see a few burrowed baneling landmines around. Unfortunately, one of them getting picked off there. The Marauder slow doing its job very nicely. We have 5 medevacs out on the field for Taeja, so potential for a lot of heals out of these medevacs. Life really, he does actually have the burrow on the way, so I think that's a nice choice here. Life actually making a move for the main base. I think that's a great move. Gonna be picking off some of the SCVs constructing that command center. Forces the cancel. Very nicely done. And I think Life has to do this. He has to keep Taeja away for the time being. Taeja's 2-2 with this many medevacs. Going to be very difficult to hold off. Plenty of Zerglings and Banelings up here, but probably insufficient to deal with the amount of Marines and Marauders that could be pushing forward. Mutalisk here, almost able to catch those medevacs. Taeja's control just too good. Going to pull the medevacs safely behind that Thor, where the Thor can continue to force those Mutalisks well and truly away. Life's macro well and truly above board here. He's got 4 bases well saturated. We have a 5th base actually being thrown down. Taeja trying to position himself, but has to be super careful about engaging on creep. These banelings, unfortunately, a bad rally point there is going to allow 5 of those to get picked off. We have Life actually jockeying here for a position on the 4th base. Thor here, sniping that would have been just such a valuable pick-off. Big scan going down here. We have Taeja, SCV trying to scout things off. The Mutalisk going to be sending him back to the repair shop. And Life able to keep Taeja back on his half of the map, which is all important. These Thors, Marines and Marauders just going to do so much damage. 3-3 started for both players. Plenty more banelings being morphed in here, but Taeja just continuing to come under fire from these Mutalisks. Mutalisks almost able to work that command center down, able to snipe a Marauder as well. Always nice. Life actually getting momentarily supply blocked by the Overlord going down. There is a stack of missile turrets here. Love this choice from Taeja. Allows him to move out and get some position on the top of the map. There's so many banelings rolling in, managing to kill one of the Thors, but unfortunately not a lot of connections with these Marines and Marauders. Life actually looping around, and the last few banelings cleaning out so many Marines. We have 170 supply, 240. It looks like Life will send down that command center. Mutalisk going to be forced to disengage there, but that was a beautiful engagement for Life. Managing to micro around the Thors, killed several of them, but managed to actually connect with the Marines and Marauders, which was exactly what he needed to do. Plenty more banelings being morphed in here. Creep Taeja trying to force his creep back, but Life's Queen's just working overtime to try and keep it up here. Needs to keep a defensive band of creep between this Terran force and can he focus? Nice pick off of the medevac there. 5th base here of Life. Trying to get this mine in here. Would love the gas income off this 5th base. Unfortunately, no geysers have been taken. A little bit busy trying to keep Taeja at bay. Missile turrets here keeping Taeja's main base nice and protected, but unfortunately for Taeja, just struggling to get a 4th base down here at the moment. Mutalisk continuing to dance at max range of those swords, trying to keep them out of position. A few Zerglings trying to run by, but there's a well-defended 3rd base for Taeja. 3 barracks here, so plenty of reinforcements. A bunker position well behind those supply depots, and it's about as defended as it can be without Taeja actually moving his army into position to defend it. Another command center coming up for Taeja. Going to attempt to retake this 4th base, but it's just so difficult to hold on, particularly with the Mutalisk. A few missile turrets here run by from Banelings, actually managing to clean out a substantial investment from Life, but he does manage to take down the bunker and a stack of the SCVs, going up to 23 workers killed. Now the Mutalisks are looping around. The Terran army's out in the middle of the map. Will Taeja have to go for a base race here as Life just plucks off that missile turret straight away, and this base is going down. Will Taeja come back? Looks like he will try and fall back to defend it. Marines going to be moved around. Unfortunately, no repair on the SCVs. SCVs dying way too quickly. As Stim 3-3 Marines are going to force that away, and the command center will manage to survive, but barely. These 5 SCVs just working their way around. trying to repair as best they can, but the Mutalisks just making their way through, plucking off all the SCVs here. Only 2 left to defend it. We have 41 SCVs have gone down. Taeja finally getting this 4th base down, but unfortunately his 3rd base has been more or less cleaned up. We have 79 harvesters to 40 as the 5 base economy of life just continues to power. Plenty of banelings in position to try and defend against potential drops, and just clouds of banelings moving around the map. We have Ultralisks coming up for life here, and there's some nice detonations there, but I can't help but think that life accidentally detonated his own banelings there. We had them detonate well and truly ahead of that army there. We'll momentarily we'll go back and check that out. We'll mark the 21-minute mark, see if that indeed was the case. I think life did by accident detonate those banelings, and that could cost him here, as he finds himself just a bit shy trying to clean up these units. Manages to get those Thors and a number of those Marines. Unfortunately, his Mutalisk not in position to try and clean up these medevacs, and Taeja really struggling to break 130 supply here. We have first few infestors and corruptors. Taeja wanting to drop here, but dropping onto banelings. It seems that life has the answer for Taeja here in this game here on Yonsu. Wherever Taeja is, life seems to be there with more units. 4th base now under 5 Zerglings trying to make their way through a planetary fortress, but I think the fortress will manage to hold out here. Just a quick repair from a few of these SCVs should do it, but Taeja actually letting those Zerglings do a surprising amount of kills. The planetary fortress going up to 24 kills here. The income just all important for Taeja. Can't afford to get distracted at all. We have corruptors in play. We have Ultralisks trying to work their way through that through those rocks. A few plucky Marauders trying to fire away, doing quite a bit of damage, managing to make their way through the Ultralisks in spite of the substantial 6 armor that the Ultralisks now have. A few corruptors here, a few infestors as well, so fungal growth going to be a real threat. And Life's managed to creep his way right into Taeja's 4th base. 3rd base, a heavy mule drop is going to clean out that 3rd base. We have Life trying to get a few Zerglings in position for a run by, but Taeja is got to make the important decisions here. His army has to decide: does he protect this 4th base, or does he try and salvage the 3rd? We have a double engagement here from Life as he tries to engage here at the 4th base. Not going to have enough to actually break through, but the 3rd base looks like it has been overrun by the Zerglings yet again, forced to lift off there. The supply is actually relatively even, so Taeja, nice split there, will force Life away at both these locations. The question is, can Life max out here? He gets mined out on his main base and his natural. 3rd base almost mined down. His 4th and 5th still got plenty of juice left in the tank there. He's dropped his 6th base here at the forward location, and Taeja stuck on base 4, so managing to secure it, but unfortunately unable to secure it early enough. Just consistent run by his Life being so annoying with these Zerglings, actually managing to pick off a supply depot here, and is starting to actually affect the supply cap of Taeja. His excess depots have been cleaned out, and he's actually down to 164 max supply. So Taeja having to make the difficult decisions: does he build units, or does he actually try and reproduce a few of these depots? Going to max out 164 rather soon. A few siege tanks also under construction as Taeja just builds everything he can to try and hold this 4th base. We have planetary fortress in place. We have tanks being produced. This is incredibly uncommon to see Taeja actually building siege tanks at this stage of the game, but he knows it's just all important to try and hold this off. A few SCVs being mopped up there, though the balance of them managing to make it to safety. We have 65 workers killed by Life, but Taeja here just planning to try and muscle his way across the map. Siege tanks and Thors tanking a lot of damage here. We have Banelings trying to make their way in. Brute Lords even being morphed in by Life here, but we have Life. He's got to buy some time. These Ultralisks just going down so quickly. Brood Lord's about to pop, but there's nothing to tank for the damage, and they pop out above these Marines and Marauders. Marines and Marauders just doing so much damage, managing to just save those Brood Lords. Brood Lords able to rip apart these siege tanks here. We have Thors being lifted to safety by medevacs in this insane Terran versus Zerg matchup. The Broodlords are going down here. A few Marines from Taeja just trying to make a valiant stand here in the middle of the map, managing to snipe those Broodlords. One Corruptor does make its way away. If we check out the unit counting stations, 112 supply to 100, but a substantial amount of life supply is actually in these drones here. We see it's 77 to 41 workers. Zerglings being produced by life, but not a lot of minerals for anything else. Unfortunately, he's got 4,000 gas. A few infestors probably wouldn't have gone astray, but we have just Zerglings and Banelings being morphed in for life here. Really needs to try and clean up a few of these Marines, but he's all over the expansion of Taeja, trying to halt that production, but unfortunately this fourth base still going strong, plenty of minerals still to be mined. And will Taeja manage to muscle his way through with this one Thor and this last ditch selection of Marines? The Thor is going to be picked up here, and the Marines going to town, timing it well with the broodlings from the death of the hatchery there. But it looks like Taeja's managed to snipe yet another hatchery. So Taeja's still in it. Is one mining base, second one being established. Actually finding the time in those crazy engagements to fly that command center across. These Marines going to town, and Medevac's trying to heal them as best they can. But this is the wonkiest Zergverse Terran we've seen in a long time. Yonsu, generally quite a quick map. The distance between players makes for much shorter engagements, but as we draw in on the 30-minute mark, life just continuing to power on. He's re-establishing his 5th base, 6th base well and truly being constructed. Taeja being a little bit of a pest from the low ground there, but there is almost nothing left from both these players, both of them under 100 resources each. If we look at the units tab, there's a few infestors. I like that choice out of life. We have 38 Marines and 2 Marauders, so it's a substantial force from Taeja, and just very cost effective, particularly with these medevacs just getting into play. We have 4 Vikings just surveilling things. They could well go to town on Life's Overlords, but Life's going to GG out of the game. And it's what an awkward position we see from both these players. Life was in such a dominating position early in that game. I think it may have come down to some of those Banelings being detonated a little bit prematurely. We'll go back and check that out. It's not often you see a Zerg die with 4k in the bank. Surprised we didn't see a few more infestors. 5 were on the field at the end of the game, but not quite enough to tank for them. Let's go back to that 20-minute mark and see if we can't see what happened to those Banelings. I think it was a premature detonation, and I think in all honesty, I think it cost Life this game. He was in a very dominant position early on, but unfortunately his Banelings detonator allowed Taeja to counter-attack across the middle of the map. So we'll skip forward just a little bit. I don't want to miss that engagement. Let's go forward a few more seconds. But here it was. I think here's Taeja moving out, and we see a substantial amount of Banelings here. We'll try and keep an eye on what's going on. We see the 3rd base under threat, and we see Life mopping up here with his Banelings in the middle of the map. So I think it's still just a little bit forward. Okay. No, I think we've jumped a bit too far here. 20-minute mark. Taeja moves across the top, and Life tries to engage. I think we'll just run forward. I'm almost positive that was a little bit of a premature detonation, which really swung things back into Taeja's favour. So we will see. This 3rd base still under attack. You see how relentless Life was early on in that game. And here we go. I think this is it. We'll slow it down, and we see Taeja take position on the top. A stack of Banelings in position here, and as he moves in, okay, those ones were focused down, but indeed those Banelings focused down must have been a premature detonation from Life. We'll slide back just a few seconds. Watch that one more time. I'm fairly sure we'll see Life, unfortunately. Alright, here we go. Life, I think he was trying to detonate the Banelings that were closest to the Terran army, but didn't realise his other group of Banelings was selected as well. So very unfortunate for Life. I think it gave Taeja the opportunity here to counter-attack that he needed. You see him move up the ramp, the Banelings in position, the second group actually selected as well. So I don't think Life was aware of that. We see the whole group detonate pointlessly over there. So unfortunate for Life, one misclick there, really giving Taeja the opportunity to counter-attack. So unfortunate for Life, but Taeja will take this game. Great Terran versus game. So much action from both these Titans as they're just macroing away. We saw that just back and forward as the multitasking was incredible. They're just constantly on top of each other's expansions, duking out in the middle of the map. Life just unrelenting the creep across the halfway point on the map, outside of Taeja's fourth base, in spite of the amount of times that Taeja pushed it back. Just a fantastic Zerg vs Terran, everything we've come to expect from these two players. So hope you guys enjoyed it. We have plenty more IEM coming up after this, so tune in here at Aussie StarCraft. Thanks guys, we'll catch you in the next cast.